Well, I'm Alan Dale here from Gale Force Winds, and I want to tell you it's fantastic to be here on day 3 of an incredible conference. And I'm talking about the National Association of Career Colleges joining up with Career Colleges Ontario, all for the benefit of students that come through these wonderful colleges across this great country of ours. People are sharing ideas, they're excited to collaborate with one another. And on that note, Nadine, why don't you introduce yourself, tell us what you do.
Sure. I'm Nadine Baladi. I am the Senior Vice President for Oxford International Education Group. I oversee the Canadian operations, essentially, and I have been in the sector for just about 25 years, and I absolutely love the regulated career college space.
Okay, let's talk about Oxford.
Yeah.
Tell me all about Oxford, all of the sort of moving parts, because I know
Sure.
Oxford to be a beautiful group of people. So.
It's an amazing place, and we do a whole bunch of things, but I will talk about maybe a few things that really are most important to our students, and that is probably our 100% job placements. So far, out of 100% of our graduates, 100% of them have found jobs in the areas they've graduated in. And I will speak mostly to our Halifax school. That's where we teach continuing care assistance and early childhood education.
Wow, that's incredible. You know, you've been around the sector, as you say, for 20 odd years. Mm-hmm. Have you seen the space? Like, how has it evolved over that time?
I mean, I would say that generally, post-secondary education has evolved to really care about career outcomes, more so than ever before. I think people are no longer as attached to the idea of a 4-year or even a master's degree, and they understand that actually finding a really practical and satisfying, life path is what really matters.
Right.
And it also helps us contribute to society better. And so I think career colleges themselves have all this amazing space to thrive, and students can thrive within that space. And I think that's the biggest shift I've seen as a general sort of movement.
And that really can only happen because you're paying attention to what's happening around you, paying attention to the direction the governments, the provinces are going, paying attention to where industry is going, your employers at the end of the day. Talk to me about the importance of understanding that for your students.
Yeah, I mean, 100%, right? I mean, at the end of the day, because we want our students to be employed, we need to develop our curriculum in a way that is market driven. And I think that one thing that's unique at Oxford, because we are so attached to this 100% employment rate, is that, I think a lot of colleges might say we have really small classrooms, or what we really try to offer is a really high ratio of career advisors to students. And I actually think it's just not unique to us. I think career colleges, I think the expression of, so we put our money where our mouth is, essentially we hire people who are truly supportive of our students to help them find jobs. And I think that's the richness of career education.
Right. And what I also find quite interesting is that the career colleges look at the academic journey differently. They look at it sort of, how do we help the student enter into to our institutions, break down those barriers to learning? Because somebody starting this journey, there's 1,000 reasons why they shouldn't do it. Some of them are money, and there's many other things. But you guys help them drop the barriers. And then when they come into your institutions, you put them in front of people who really have done the work. These are experienced people, right?
Totally.
And then at the back end, you make sure they're ready for the workforce. And that's why they're so successful. And it's that whole continuous journey that you look at that I think makes it so successsul. Is that the secret sauce?
I think you're 100% right. So first of all, from an academic standpoint, as we heard at the conference also, it's not about what you cram into the students' heads, it's actually what they do while learning, right? It's incredibly hands-on, and that prepares them ultimately for doing the job. I think also, certainly at Oxford, we don't look at high school grades to accept them, but we do credibility interviews and just getting to know the applicants interview before we admit them. we usually admit them, but it's a question of which program will they really thrive in,
Right.
and what lifestyle after they graduate will really suit them. So we really look at the individual, we look at their career path, we look, and then we make the learning incredibly practical and relevant to that, to that individual. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been around it a lot. You've seen a lot of people across the stage. You've seen a lot of people come through the front door, right? God, this is a hard question, but is there anything that jumps out? Any memorable story that you can tell us? Somebody or a situation that you're so proud of that Oxford was involved in?
I mean, there'd
be hundreds of them, right?
There are, and every student's success is really joyful. I could think of a specific cohort. So we educate Canadians, a lot of new arrivals, but also international students. And in our continuing care education program in particular, one cohort was particularly rich in Nigerian students. And a lot of these were women who had sacrificed and sort of left their spouses and their children back home. And really, some of them already did some care work in Nigeria, wanted to look at Canada, understood the needs that the Halifax community had for continuing care workers. So they joined us. They did 10 months away from their families. Wow. And we're talking about 3, 4, 5 kids that their parents and their spouses took care of back home. Yeah. And when they walked on that stage, some of them had their families already with them. Wow. Some of them had their Canadian adoptive family, if you will, who showed up. Some of them even had people from the care homes where they had done their practicums come to their graduation because they just fell in love with this cohorts, their warmth, their commitment to that space. It was just an emotional graduation ceremony. Right. And again, 100% of them found jobs in Canada and were eventually able to bring their families here.
Think how courageous you would have to be to do that, right? I mean, to make a commitment like that for the benefit of your family and the benefit of the people that you're going to care for, and then they all show up to be a part of it. That's magical. Yeah, it really and that's the kind of stuff that Oxford does. Yeah. So thank you very much for being on the show. We appreciate your perspective.
Thank you so much. It was really an honor to be here.
Good. We'll take the wire off.
Okay.
You did very